All right, just cutting across to big breaking news now coming in. We are being told that the Supreme Court's Constitution bench is now all set to hear the Ayodhya case from January 10. Remember earlier this year, the Supreme Court had posted the case to be heard from January 10 and the order said that the appropriate bench will take this forward. What we are getting to know now is that it's the Supreme Court Constitution bench that will hear this case. Let's go across to our colleague Nalini Sharma for more.
Yes, Shivani, what we are understanding right now is that a 5-judge constitution bench has been constituted by the Supreme Court to hear the Babri Masjid case at 10:30 a.m. on the 10th of January as it was listed before. And we have the details of this bench that is going to be hearing the case. It is being headed by the Chief Justice of India, Justice Ranjan Gogoi himself, and it also includes Justice S.A. Bobde, Justice M.V. Ramana, Justice U.U. Lalit, as well as Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. And Shivani, the reason it's important to flag this, the reason why this is important is because a 5-judge constitution bench has been set up. What that essentially means is the Supreme Court is not going to be considering the Babri Masjid dispute merely as a land dispute right now. It's a constitutional issue that is going to be considered by a 5-judge constitution bench, and from the 10th of January is when the hearing is scheduled.
So why is that, Nalini? Is it because of Subramaniam Swamy's intervention in this case as well, where he's made this about his right to pray? Is that why a constitution bench is together going to look at this?
Precisely. In fact, that was one of the main arguments that was coming up when the entire Babri Masjid arguments were going on before, that the right to pray of several petitioners is being violated because they're not giving a right to build the Ram Mandir at the place where Lord Ram was born. So this is something that seems to have stuck with the Supreme Court. Last time they had said that they will set up an appropriate bench to hear the matter. And what's important now is that they've set up a constitution bench to hear this case, which means that it is an issue of constitutional importance, that the 5 judges will have to consider the fundamental rights of the citizens. And that is why they will be hearing the matter from the 10th of January. What remains to be seen is whether or not it is important enough to hold day-to-day hearings and complete the entire case in a time-bound manner. But this is a big development in the entire Babri Masjid dispute that is pending before the Supreme Court. A constitution bench has been set up and 5 judges of the top court of the country will be deciding on this issue in finality
now. What does your sense say, Nalini, as far as the regularity of the hearings is concerned? As you mentioned, it remains to be seen. But what does your sense say when a constitution bench sits, and that to a 5-judge constitution bench? Could it be day-to-day hearings or expedited hearings at least?
Well, interestingly enough, a constitution bench is only formed when it is an issue of constitutional importance, or when the one particular aspect of the Constitution needs to be interpreted by the Supreme Court. Initially, the Supreme Court only dealt with issues of constitutional importance, but of course, over a period of time, that has become diluted, and the Supreme Court has started taking up several other issues, which is why specifically this idea of constitutional benches was formed whenever an important issue comes up, which is pertinent with respect to the Constitution. We've seen this previously when it came to Section 377 of the IPC regarding homosexuality. We've seen this before with the right to privacy judgment, and this is now happening with the Babri Masjid case itself, which essentially means that they're going to be deciding the issue on the aspect of right to worship of these several parties that have approached the Supreme Court. The kind of line that was being taken by the opposition party along with some of the Supreme Court judges, because it's come up before several benches, was that this was merely a land dispute and the Supreme Court will not go into the issue of religion. But that is something that stands defeated now. Supreme Court will be going into the issue of religion, and a 5-judge bench will be deciding this case.
All right. Nalini, I've got Zafaryab Jilani of the AIMPLB, the All India Muslim Personal Law Board. Mr. Jilani, the Supreme Court has set a constitution bench to hear the Ayodhya case. They're going to hear the constitutionality of the right to pray argument that has been brought in. Are you in favor of this being seen as a constitutional issue and not just a title suit issue?
No, I don't think that any constitutional bench has been constituted for this case. It is a routine matter as appellate court, the Supreme Court will be hearing this matter. And therefore, the title dispute is also be decided on the basis of the issues which were framed in the trial court and the evidence led on those issues and the findings given on those issues, those things will be the subject matter of appeal before the Supreme Court. Now, at the moment, I don't
Well,
think
the
any
news we have, sir, is that it is indeed a 5-judge constitutional bench led by the CJI himself that is going to hear this case. I do have to slip into a very short break, sir. We're going to try and speak to you in detail again. But a very short break, big news coming in as far as the Ayodhya matter is concerned. On the other side, we'll get you more.